my next guest, I always say how excited I am, like when I come on these podcasts and I get to talk with like really interesting people. Um, Dr. Jordana Quinn and I I think I've canceled twice.
I probably canceled once also.
Okay, so the wind canceled on us, and then my son, who was sick, canceled.
Yeah.
And I've just been kind of waiting and feeling like this is divine timing that we talked today for whatever reason.
Agreed.
And we're going to dive into all things core today
Amazing.
and all things root. And I first want to hear who you are and what you're all about, and then we'll dive in. So welcome.
Thank you.
And let's jump in. Yeah.
Okay.
Tell me a little bit about what you do and how you do it.
Okay. I think that requires a little bit about my journey in medicine.
Would love to hear it.
So I knew I wanted to become a doctor at 14 years old. I was literally watching PBS and eye surgery, and I was like, I want to do that. And at that time, I knew it wasn't eye surgery, but in my mind, I was like, I love puzzles and I want to help people. And it was very clear, and I never looked back.
Amazing.
And I liked science. And so I kind of always had that. There wasn't really any other path for me in life. I mean, I used to also read books actually on herbal healing and shamanism and stuff when I was a teenager. So I knew it was in the healing field, I guess. I didn't know what kind of doctor or how I was going to help people, but I knew I was going to help people.
Okay.
And then got into medical school. Actually, when I was applying to medical school, I was applying to MD schools, DO schools, and I was a little bit like not super into regular allopathic medicine, just kind of because of the system as it is now and has gotten even worse in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I looked into traditional Chinese medical schools and all these different things, but in the end, like being a doctor was what I wanted. So I went to osteopathic medical school, which is the same as the MD program, but I mean, in terms of the training and the medical requirements, but there is a little bit more of a holistic approach and focus on the body in the schooling. And then in that, I went on to get my residency in something called physical medicine and rehab, which is the study of how your body moves and any dysfunction in the movement of your body. So non-operative orthopedics, neurologic conditions, brain injuries, spinal cord injuries. I mean, anything that makes your body not move normally. And that made sense to me. I've been an athlete my whole life. I was a gymnast when I was young and then a competitive diver in college. And so just body was important to me.
Yeah.
So that was kind of my path into becoming a doctor. I wanted to work with athletes and work in sports medicine. And my first job in practice, I thought I was joining a sports medicine practice, but it was a pain management practice, which is a very different model than sports medicine. It's the same injuries, but in my opinion, athletes come to me with an injury and they say, how can I get better? And pain management patients come to me with an injury and they say, what pill can I take? Or how can you make me better? And not that that's an over, stereotype of what I found, but that's kind of a similar thing. And I didn't like it. I mean, I was reading, again, like this is my first job. I was reading nutrition books for fun. And so long story short, when I was in that job, it wasn't fulfilling. I mean, I did not like that job. And so I reached out to a physician who I knew was doing stem cells and PRP, which is using your body's natural healing abilities to heal itself. And I said, you should hire me. And I shadowed him for a year. Like I just sat in his office one day a week and watched how he worked. And he was a longevity medicine doctor. And over time, he eventually hired me. And I did his regenerative medicine procedures. He mentored me in everything like anti-aging, longevity, functional medicine. And that's kind of how I ended up in this path.
Amazing. Amazing. I feel like I can see the way your brain works. It's like you're passionate and a go-getter.
Yeah.
And maybe you don't stop.
Ever. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like tired of myself.
Well, I mean, also it sounds like you believe in yourself.
Yeah, or I guess I
believe in what you're
hard
doing.
Work at least, and I love what I do.
Yeah,
and there's always something new. I do have educational FOMO, so there's always something else to learn, or a different way to help a patient, or in the field that I've chosen. I mean, over time, you just realize that. I mean, because I'm in the longevity space and the regenerative medicine space, it's ahead of the times for traditional medicine. And so there's a lot that does change, right? We learn new information, we apply it, and then we know better. And so we actually do better. We don't learn better and do nothing about it. But that takes time and that takes energy and learning. And I truly just want to make a difference in my patients. I mean,
tell me, I mean, we'll get into the name of your practice, which is?
It's Core Regenerative Medicine.
Yeah.
It's Core with a K, which actually means maiden voyage. But also like we talked about, I mean, this being like the core of what's going on with a person and
Right.
the root of our injuries or diseases or whatever we have going on.
Yeah, I mean, that's really why when we met,
Yeah.
I loved the name of your business.
Thank you.
And now I love it even more, hearing the true meaning of it.
Yeah.
But before we dive into that route, I really want to, I mean, I'm a shamanic energy healer, but I'm
Yeah.
also a holistic health coach. I'm a yoga teacher. I've been in like the physical body world for so long, and I'm really excited about longevity medicine. And so can you just tell us a little bit, like most people don't know what that even is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So longevity medicine, I mean, if you know what functional medicine is, I would say it's similar. I think,
Okay.
experts in either would, be aghast, but it is focusing on root. So first and foremost, you do need a basis of functional medicine, which is really, we like to say, focusing on root cause. So instead of treating a symptom, so you have a headache and we give you a pill, and then you're tired and we give you a pill, and
Right.
you're depressed and we give you a pill. It's like, is there a commonality that's giving you a headache and fatigue and depression, right? And so it might still take a pill to fix you, but it is, as opposed to kind of treating every symptom with another pill and then you end up on polypharmacy.
Yes.
It really is saying like, hey, let's take a step back. Let's spend time with our patients. Let's ask them full holistic questions, so we can really understand what's going on with them. So I'm going to circle back on longevity medicine in a minute, but it is, I mean, not just saying like, okay, you have knee pain, for example, which I see a lot of athletes in my practice because of my regenerative medicine and athletic background. And so someone comes to me for knee pain, but I'm still asking them the questions of, well, what are your stress levels? What do you do for fun? What are your relationships like in your life? Not just significant others, but parents, siblings. Do you feel like you have a good support community? I'm asking you about your sleep. I'm asking you about, what do you put in your mouth every day, more or less, because all of those are going to affect inflammation. Your trauma history is going to affect inflammation. I mean, so sometimes you think, and sometimes it's clear, right? Like I went skiing, I injured myself, tore my ACL or have a meniscus tear. It's very cut and dry.
Right.
But some of those things, it's like, okay, even if you have a meniscus tear, I mean, all of our regenerative medicine patients, they get a nutrition visit. We put them on supplements that are designed to optimize cellular health around a stem cell procedure. And then they're getting stem cell injections. So we, for everything, take a holistic approach, but sometimes it's more complicated. Sometimes it's easy, but those things are so important for health. So that's kind of the basis. And then longevity medicine takes it to another level of, once you're optimized, which there's always work to do, but once you're doing kind of all of the foundations of lifestyle, we find a root cause. If there's disease, then how can there are scientific studies and evidence that shows there are things that actually lengthen your telomeres, which is a marker of aging. Yeah. There are things that promote aging, that we study communities in like blue zones, like why do people live longer in those zones? So there are medications you can take, there are supplements you can take, there are ways that you can live your life, intermittent fasting, saunas, cold plunges. I mean, there are things you can do that have been shown to actually work on prolonging your life as well, which is longevity medicine.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love the blend between longevity medicine and functional medicine, like to take care of the base and then build from there. Something that you said, like kind of like raised a question. Does inflammation, is that caused because you just had a ski accident?
Right.
Which is like cut and dry, basically.
Yep.
Or is inflammation also like when you look at the lifestyle and the issues and how that person is living their lives and their trauma, is inflammation caused by trauma? Is like, you've probably have heard the term, your issues are in your tissues.
Yes.
And do you believe in that? And I'd love to expand on that.
I mean, not only do I believe in it, I've seen it happen in my office. So, I mean, for example, I had someone who came in with a shoulder injury, rotator cuff tear. We did stem cells on it. He got maybe 75% better. But there was just something he kept telling me, it's just not there yet. And I'm like, okay, we can put platelet-rich plasma in it. We can, he was taking our supplement packs. We have designed supplement packs specifically for stem cell procedures and psychedelic journeys. We could talk about that in a minute. And finally he went to, not a therapist, but he saw someone who does just another type of healing. And in 2 sessions, like his shoulder pain was completely gone. Now, would his shoulder pain have been gone without stem cells and just his healing? Maybe.
Right.
Who knows? But probably not. He'd been seeing that person already, and then saw me. So it's the combination, which I know is like something we're going to talk about, because it is the combination of everything. I mean, so you can have inflammation from an injury, but as we age, I mean, it is just, we age for a reason.
Right.
In longevity medicine, it's being studied, but
Right.
it's not just happenstance. There are things that do make that process happen quicker, and there's things that slow that process. And so as we age, our gut doesn't like digest food as well a lot of the time, right? So there's micro inflammation that can happen with the food that we eat, or our guts get more irritated. And then we kind of get these, it stimulates inflammation in the body. And so at baseline, we can be more inflamed. I mean, smokers are highly inflamed.
Right.
Drinking alcohol will cause a short-term inflammatory response in your body. So there's all, stress is the killer of all things health. So stress causes a ton of inflammation in your body in multiple different ways. It causes inflammation, not just stress, but things. So it's never just one answer. I mean, there's stress decreases your ability to digest food appropriately. It increases cortisol, which then has its own inflammatory kind of cascade. Right. I mean, it decreases your ability to sleep well, and you need to sleep well to decrease inflammation in the body. So it's never one thing.
Yeah. And I know, and when you're talking, sometimes it feels like when we talk about these things, I mean, I've lived it, and, you know, personally and then professionally, when we see people with a certain amount of stress,
yes,
right? And we live in a world with so much stress and so much information coming at us, it feels sometimes like this uphill battle of keeping our bodies healthy, thinking about the idea of longevity, right? In a way that our parents never thought about. Like and it sounds like the medicine out now is so different. And then on top of that, I actually just read a study that said women that have been sexually abused have a greater chance of dying younger than women that haven't been sexually abused, simply because that inflammation and those issues live inside of their body, if not expressed.
Yeah.
And so that's like obviously where I come in too, the emotional, the energetic, how we hold on to those.
It's such beautiful work that you do, and it's so important because we don't give it credit in Western medicine. And I think we have this belief in this country that if it doesn't happen in Western medicine, it's not real medicine, for one, which is not true. Right. But also, we don't take the time to honor our mental health in this country. And that part is getting worse. So we focus on all these things, like you said, like our parents never had to, but part of it is, as a whole, their lives weren't so stressful, right? They're not checking Facebook and social media and emailing. And, you know, so, I mean, I own 2 businesses and I have to keep up with those things. I mean, you should cover your ears, but I don't do social media, but it's appalling to people. But
oh my God.
But I mean, but you know, there's so much to keep up with, right? So as a business owner, it's like, and you do need email, and you do need to be in communication all the time. And then you still just have to do your regular work as a business owner. That includes paying taxes and accounting and employee management and all the things. So life is harder and more stressful. Yeah. There's less downtime. So there is this focus on longevity and like, and then you need to do 20 minutes of meditation. And so it's like, you need to do more. But part of that is because of the overwhelm that we've caused ourselves.
It's true.
And then our soils are depleted, and we don't eat as healthy, and we don't prioritize food. So, so we have all of this focus because we want to do more now. Right. And still be healthy. Whereas like, I would argue that my parents and definitely my grandparents just didn't, they didn't do so much. Right. There wasn't so much overwhelm.
Right. It's true. I think about, like, I had a friend that said, my friend just texted me. Actually, it was our mutual friend, Leah. And she said, I'm just sitting here reading this amazing book, on my couch. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. Like, we don't often at 11 o'clock on a Wednesday morning sit and just read these amazing, we hardly read. Right. And B, we're so busy running from one thing to another that we have forgotten what it means to do the simple things that our grandparents did, which was just open a book. Yes. And that could decrease our stress levels immensely. Yes. But I think it is that we do need these tools like cold plunging or the saunas or the infrared saunas, like all these tools they're amazing. And I guess we need them in this day and age.
Yes and no. I kind of want to go 2 ways with this. There's so much to talk to you about. But
I know.
I think, yes, well, that's a story we tell ourselves, right? We could also just slow down and do less, period. I mean, so do we need them? No. I mean, saunas and cold plunges have been around forever. Now there's a market behind them. So they're more, but people have jumped in rivers, and the, Finnish have loved their saunas every day, forever and ever. So, but we want things faster, and we know that we can maybe achieve autophagy in a cold plunge in 3 minutes, right? Or whatever, or we know that we can increase circulation in a sauna much quicker than going for like an hour-long run, right? So there now are studies that show like, what can you do the most efficiently? And I'm the queen of like, if I could do a 20-minute, 30-minute HIIT workout, it is just as good as an hour and a half in the gym, I'm going to do that, right? And you can overdo it. And there is a methodical way or more methodical way of doing longevity, because, for example, you don't want to be stressed out all the time and then go in a cold plunge. Like, that's actually more stressful on the body. Like, there are ways to do longevity that are more responsible than others. It's not just doing everything whenever you want all the time, which is what most of people are doing when they come to me. And I'm like, well, this is why I have like a program where we can, help you out throughout the year and tell you, maybe this is a time to do cold plunge. This is a time to do sauna. You don't want like, more isn't always better. Sometimes less is better. And so it is sometimes just takes a doctor to tell you to do less. Right.
Right.
Kind of going back to the mental health component of it, I think this is an important thing is with the mental health and our culture not honoring it, and we don't have the time, right? So we want to still do more things as opposed to sometimes taking a load off. When sometimes to honor your mental health, to honor if there's a death in the family or a breakup with a significant other, like we don't give anybody space to honor that. It's just like, go back to work or go back to whatever, go out with your friends. There's no like, it's okay to cry. And it's okay to cry for a long time. Right. It's okay to feel sad. Like feeling sad, feeling afraid, feeling uncertain. Those are all valid and just fine emotions, right? You can't feel happy unless you know what sad is, right?
Totally.
And I think we don't give we all want just happiness and joy all the time. Right. And so we don't just honor that. We don't know how to hold space anymore for people in their grief and in their sorrow.
Absolutely.
And to further that, especially like with the work you do, this childhood trauma, sexual abuse survivors, childhood trauma, we also want to say like, oh, I've dealt with that and I've moved on, but it's stored in your body and you might have dealt with it and be able to be a normal functioning member of society. Like, we're not looking at like, oh, I had this one experience that ruined my life forever and ever, right? It's more like, I had this experience, maybe I've dealt with it. I've been able to now go on and have a healthy relationship with a significant other, but it comes up in different ways because when you're a child, there's so much development that's happening. And so I see this in my office all the time. And some of the psychedelic work I do is that people beat themselves up for not being over their thing that happened to them, when it's like there are stages of getting over it. And then you realize that it still affects you deeply because your childhood affects you forever, no matter what happened.
Totally. I always think of it as healing is a spiral and it's not linear.
Yes.
And so I had a client that had like deep hip pain. It was actually inner thigh and outer thigh. So it was like kind of all like pelvic region all over. And she did acupuncture. She went to she did the whole thing. And when she finally came to me, she realized, she was like, I know that I've been abused. I know it. She said, but I dealt with it. I'm done. Kind of like what you said. And what we realized is that there's so many layers to that one particular issue. Or like you said, childhood is it's a teaching ground. It's like a garden that you grow and you learn from and you pick from, and you're always learning from it. And so she uncovered a whole other layer of her healing that she never knew was there. And I feel like once we get through some of that trauma, like the original trauma, then the beauty happens. You can go in and learn about yourself from that.
It's amazing.
Yeah. And then the body feels better. The body feels seen. The body feels heard. I'm just always fascinated with the core, the root of getting to that root layer is not just, and I don't know how you feel, but in medicine, maybe it's different, but it's not just one root.
It's never one root. And actually, this is why I love psychedelic medicine. So I discovered psychedelics 7 years ago now. I mean, for myself, it was life-changing. And then dove in, like in the way I do with educational FOMO, and learned as much as I could and did as many journeys as I could. Because part of it was like, oh, this is what you have to help people in this capacity. And I didn't want to. I mean, I literally tried to not do that for about a year. But it was so like the day I knew I was going to be a doctor, it was like, this is your path.
Yeah.
And so took me about a year, and then I finally decided to add ketamine to my practice because that's what's legal for us. But now I work in the space and with others who are in all of the kind of psychedelic community.
Yeah.
I've used psychedelics as root cause medicine more than anything else in the entire world.
Amazing.
Because, I mean, I've had a journey where, well, because I really think you can go inside, because psychedelics, you are facing, I mean, you can have beautiful, amazing experiences, but sometimes those beautiful, amazing experiences is facing your demons, and you get through it, and you see yourself, like you said, and you feel yourself, and you literally can move through those things in your body. And you can see that, like on a psychedelic journey, you could see the energetic being that you are, or that others are. And they're uncomfortable sometimes. I mean, most times,
of course,
people do journeys. Like, this isn't like, oh, I'm going to go take some things and go to a concert. I mean, it is hard work.
Yeah.
I mean, it is work. But the other side of that work is amazing. And so many people, whether it's through psychedelics or meditation or the work that you do, don't want to do that work. They're like, oh, I've done that. I've gotten over it. But that's just like they've forgiven the person, or they've moved on. And they've decided that that no longer is going to hold them back. But doing that work is like, it's hard.
It's no joke.
It's a lot. And there's many layers. There's many layers of acceptance of where you have to go to see or feel to get over that, which is, you know, when you're 13 or when you're in your 20s, you're like, okay, I can move on from, let's say, a sexual abuse experience and have a good relationship because I don't want that to hold me back. But you haven't actually faced that. Yeah. And maybe it's in your 30s or your 40s or
100%
until you're actually ready to, or even have the understanding that that's so important.
And that's why I love what you do, because you're coming from different facets, right? Like, okay, your body's presenting this. We go a little deeper, but if you really are truly interested in getting to that root and figuring out what it is, psychedelics, and I believe also shamanic work, which is kind of one and the same, right? Like, I've learned both.
Energy.
Right. It goes in and it presents to you the root cause. Yes. And it gives you layers. And maybe in one journey you find one layer, and the next journey you're like, wow, I also feel like, and I believe this also coming from, I live in a very sensitive body, right? And what I find in my own body and a lot of with my clients' bodies is that we can't hit it all at once.
No.
Right? And so that's why I do love shamanic journeying and psychedelics, because there's divine timing for everything. And so maybe for me, it was taking supplements. Like I had a whole pharmacy of supplements of just being hit with functional medicine for decades.
Yes.
Until I finally said, I'm done.
Yep.
Right. And I was doing the emotional work, but it was like, there must be something deeper here that my body's asking for.
Yes.
And that's what I find a lot of women they start with one layer. And then if they're willing, you can go to another layer. And then if you're willing, you can go to another layer. You can actually go, especially in psychedelics and the work that I do, you can go into the ancestral layers.
Yeah, amazing. I hope to do that work with you, actually.
Oh my God. Yeah, well, we're going to do that. But it's incredible when you can start seeing the patterns of, I mean, for me, for example, you know, I did have Hashimoto's disease, an autoimmune disease. I do have hypothyroidism. My daughter has it. My mother had it. My grandmother had it, probably down the line. And then if you look at that from just a medical standpoint, which I'm sure you can let me know, you know, that's one layer. But then if you go down the layers, you look at why didn't the women in my lineage use their voice? Why are our throat chakras so blocked? And then you can look at it from the childhood layers. And I mean, I go into past life layers as well, right? And so I have sat with women and myself also, where we look at layers, and this might be totally like, I mean, you've been in psychedelics, so you know. I mean, I've looked at wounds of why women in my lineage felt so blocked, and it's like being choked or strangled or whatever it is in different lifetimes and ancestrally. And when you free that area. Yeah. Does it mean that I still have thyroid issues? I do, but I don't associate myself. I don't identify with it anymore.
Yes. Oh, that's such a huge part of medicine, actually, that I have a big problem with is, and especially honestly in the psychiatric space, and I see value, but is this, I mean, and in the physical medicine space as well, but like this need to diagnose. So and I've seen such beautiful things happen from a diagnosis where you have a diagnosis and you finally feel heard and understood and whatever. But I've also seen people hold on to it. Well, I have ADD, and that's the beginning of every sentence that comes out of their mouth. So I can't do this, or I can't. And so they put themselves into this box.
Yes.
Because I also think like we have, this is my very biased opinion, but I mean, especially from a psychiatric standpoint, like humans are humans. The human condition is vast. It's always been. Maybe it's more vast now because there's more people and more genetics and more genetic abnormalities or differences. But as we've gotten more vast, our tolerance has gotten smaller. And so we want people to be in a box. We want everyone to go to school at the same time of day, sit behind desks, do the same things. And then work a 9 to 5 and be the same person. And if you don't fit into that box, and that box is even smaller than I said, then you have a condition.
Right.
Then you have a thing. And then therefore you're abnormal. And I actually think whatever that box is, it's gotten smaller. And so our tolerance has gotten smaller. Now we have a diagnosis. And the problem that I have with it is that then people attach to that diagnosis. And so if it helps you and then you're able to overcome because you understand now, or you can relate to other people similarly, great. But I think we've gotten more diagnoses, less tolerance, and most people then attach to that and make excuses for themselves because they have a diagnosis, as opposed to, my opinion is, most of it is the normal human condition.
Yes. Oh my God. We could talk forever. I love what you said. I mean, the name of my podcast is Soul Stories.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because of what you just said. Yes, there's a time and place. Like, I needed to know when I was having babies that I was hyperthyroid because I thought my body was going to blow up.
And it could be life-threatening.
Yes. I needed that diagnosis.
And I love being a doctor, to be clear, and diagnoses are important.
Like, I was like, thank you for the medicine.
Yes,
I need it.
Yes.
And what I really believe in is that we can get really attached to our diagnoses and to the things that have happened to us that maybe lead to that diagnosis.
Yes.
And we forget that we're actually having a spiritual experience here.
Yes.
And that our stories are actually our soul. Like, our soul has a story.
Yes.
And our soul came here to experience the body that you're in, the body that I'm in, for whatever reason. And then all the things that we're diagnosed with is part of our story. But if that becomes our identification, we lose ourselves and we lose the big picture that we're going to die one day.
Yes.
We're not going to exist in this body.
And going back to kind of your Hashimoto's hypothyroid story, I mean, your daughter's hypothyroid, but maybe by you working on your ancestral stuff and clearing your throat chakra, I mean, this is, maybe she doesn't have I don't know her medical history, but full blown hypothyroid, or maybe she can move beyond. Or actually what's so interesting is, I don't know specifically about like hypothyroid, but we pass down. So, we have genetics, and then we have something called epigenetics. Epigenetics are the part of the genetics we can change, right? So 20%-ish is genetics, right? So I could never be a 7-foot tall Black man, no matter what I eat or how I dance or what I do, right? Like, that's just, my genetics are white chick,
I always feel that way.
Yeah. But even when I was in medical school, I mean, 20 years ago, I hate to say it was that long now, but 20 years ago, it was still, we were taught, like, this is your genetics. If my mom had cardiovascular disease, I was going to get it, or very, very, very likely. But now we know that it's actually like, my lifestyle can change that significantly. Right?
Totally.
And we didn't even realize how significantly, and we're still in the process of realizing how significant. But what's super cool, I mean, I read a study specifically about obesity, but so that kind of, I mean, there's more than one obesity gene and many things that play a factor, but childhood trauma being a huge one. But when that's turned on, you pass that down for 3 generations. So if you, like you've done this work with your thyroid, can turn that off, and maybe turn it off for your daughter, like in 2 more generations, like that's off.
Doesn't exist.
Right? And so it doesn't necessarily happen in our lifetime, but like this is where ancestral trauma is very like genetically, scientifically, and in longevity medicine real, because it's like what happens to you in this life actually affects 3 generations. So unfortunately, for example, for that obesity gene, if it's turned on, you have to work a lot harder for you and your kids and your grandkids to, be more fit. Like there is a very real thing. Like we can't all eat the same thing and exercise the same way. But I would imagine that happens for thyroid, for many other diseases as well. And so being able to clear your chakra and work on the energetic self and the mind-body connection is all important for generations to come. It's just not for you right now.
Oh, that's amazing. In shamanic studies, we talk about the 7 generations before and the 7 generations after. So it's very similar. You're talking about 3 generations before and after.
Yeah.
We really like when I go in, I think about those 7 generations and those 7 generations after, and like my root and my belief is that we can really heal and do some beautiful work there so that those generations after don't have to live with that. So it's like I feel like we're speaking the same language, we just come at it a different way, although it feels the same,
It is the
right?
same, my science brain, this is where science and like psychedelics are, and for me, like constantly in opposition, and it's hard because
Yeah.
because I love science and I want to
Yeah.
know, I want to understand,
Right.
and that's what science is.
Right.
But there's no such thing as exact science.
Yeah.
And then in psychedelics, in the energetic space,
Mhm.
it is the acceptance of what is, in
Yes.
my like limited
Agreed.
understanding, and digging into your intuition in this energetic connectedness with
Mhm.
all living beings, right? Plants,
Right.
humans, all of it. And you have to slow down and be
Mhm.
present to tap into that. Whereas science is like the opposite. It's like, let me
Mm.
learn more, let me study more, let me do more.
Right.
And so it is saying the same thing. So I love it. Like I love something like that where we can have science to prove what you already know in the shamanic realm, and you already
Yeah.
know as an energetic being, and the energy workers already know. You just don't have the words and the scientific proof that we need, which is
Right.
always so interesting because I don't think we always need scientific proof, but like in this Western colonized world,
Mhm.
we rely so heavily that that's the only way when it's not.
Yes.
But the other cool thing too is I added psychedelics to my practice 6 years ago-ish.
Mhm.
And now there's studies. I mean, there's individual studies. There's been a study on ayahuasca that shows it increases telomerase in your body, which
Wow.
is the enzyme that increases telomeres.
Right.
Psilocybin, there were studies on mice that psilocybin who did mice, I forget, it affected many lineages in their many cell lines in their bodies. And then there's a
Amazing.
separate one on ketamine that shows it improves longevity. So it's like I knew 6 years ago when I added it because I was like, it just makes
Amazing.
sense to my practice to add.
Right.
Because if people can't deal with this, it's all connected. And so
Right.
I love when science proves things we already know. I also love that it just fits into what I do. But then I
Totally.
find it frustrating because I think again, being a scientist and in the psychedelic space, involved in some kind of Western approaches to psychedelics,
Mhm.
I just don't think that's the right way to do psychedelics, like the Western approach. But we want to understand, and so I have respect for that. But we end
Right.
up kind of ruining a lot of things in
Like missing the whole ritual behind
missing the
it.
whole ritual and missing that acceptance of like the unknowing is I
Yeah.
think where the magic is, honestly.
Yeah.
And so I think in trying to know and define, we actually miss it.
Well, I think some of that is like we're trying to use our minds
Yes.
with a medicine that is from the earth and is
Yes.
plant and
Yes.
is part of who we
Yes.
are because plants are part of who we are.
Yes.
And so I do agree with you. I think it is very scientific now. And I know that there's a need for it. I'm so grateful that it's more accepted. But I do agree that there is a real ritual and acceptance and medicine from the medicine.
Yes.
Right. Like if we truly, truthfully, I learned I learned about medicine in my shamanic studies, but I was always afraid I've done some, but I was always afraid to really dive into it until recently.
Yeah.
And what I've learned from it is like this plethora of information and guidance and love, especially that most of us walking around, if we're really honest, like I think some of our issues, and maybe you would agree with me, a lot of our issues is just the lack of love that we have and acceptance with our human condition and the issues that we've gathered over our years here. And then the opening of this psychedelics like really shows that there's so much love here. There's so much forgiveness. And if our bodies could feel that too,
Yes.
we would be healthier.
We would be healthier.
Yes.
And that's, the base, there's a lot, unfortunately, right now in the public eye about longevity medicine in a not positive way, but
yes.
There's so much beauty. And I think as scientists, well, psychedelics and longevity medicine, kind of everything to do, regenerative medicine, we can lose because how we're trained in Western medicine, to see patients and we do a thing essentially,
Yeah.
but we can lose that. Like you have to have the foundations. I actually speak at a lot of conferences now about optimizing cellular health before psychedelic journeys, before stem cells. Those are the two kind of things I talk about, but it comes down to the foundation. So in general, people will come to me even for psychedelic journeys and say, okay, we're going to do ketamine and ketamine's going to fix me. And the conversation is always like, the pill is not going to fix you.
Right.
The injection stem cells do a really good job of fixing you,
Right.
but it is all connected to, you have to believe that you have the power to heal yourself.
Yes.
And then I can layer on top of that. But I am not your savior.
Right.
I have amazing tools.
Right.
I'm very well educated. I really wanted for you.
Mm-hmm.
But all of that doesn't matter if you don't believe that you can heal
Yes.
yourself.
Right.
And we do this
1,000%.
together. We walk this path together.
Right.
That's how I view it. And there's
Yeah.
some people, I'm not for everyone.
Well, and I'm not either, right? Because I believe that too. Like if
Yeah.
you're going to come, I mean, it's the same thing. I feel, well, I'll say that in a second, but you have to be willing, just like you said, like doing psychedelics is not necessarily like a concert event.
Right.
It can be for fun.
Right.
But if you're really serious about going into the layers of who you are because there's an intention, because you're suffering or you want to know more or you just want to love yourself or you want to heal,
All of it.
then there has to be a real willingness to see, to say, I'm willing to see this and to go deeply into it. There is like I need your buy-in.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
I like, you're not a savior and I'm not a savior. And I mean, I believe like spirit is seriously involved and that's a whole other conversation, but there has to be a yes from the client or the patient.
Yeah. And honestly, especially in the psychedelic space, I don't, just because of the type of person that sees me in the psychedelic space is different than the type of person that sees me for longevity medicine or whatever. But as a whole, we're all humans. It could take a few visits, but like at some point there has to be a buy-in, right? It can't always be just like this. I guess the victim doesn't work of life happens to me. It's like, okay, you're here in my office because life has happened to you.
Right.
But now you're in your 30s or your 40s so you get to happen to your life. So how would you like to change that narrative? And that's the conversation we have. And I mean, it really is beautiful watching people become a different version of themselves, but it's hard. I mean, it's literally like a rebirth. I mean, I've had to do it so many times and I still have many more rebirths of myself to come. And every time it's difficult. I mean, every time it's just like, and you don't realize you're in it, right? When you're in the like, but I've been personally on that path, like, okay, who's the next version I need to become to do whatever, to make this next business grow in my life, or, to be the leader I need for my employees. And it's just like, okay, like, I've had very in the mirror experiences of like, oh, that's what I need to do. I'm not ready to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's a hard pill to swallow.
It is.
Like when I looked at myself and I was like that, and it's so easy. Like maybe it's firing someone, honestly.
Right.
It's so hard for me. But I mean, so easy. The answer is so easy. And I'm just like, oh God, I'm not ready to become that person. Right. But why?
Oh,
right. And it's just, it's uncomfortable. I've gotten uncomfortable with myself many times and disappointed in myself.
Yeah.
And then, I look back at when I opened my business 7 years ago and it's come a long way and it's freaking awesome, but
yeah, it's amazing.
There were so many versions of myself I had to become to open a business I don't know.
Completely. It reminds me of the question I often ask of like two questions. Who do I need to be to be the person that steps into this next level, whether it's physical or leading your business and or firing somebody or whatever it is, like, who do I need to be? And am I ready? Yes. And that's where I believe the training comes, right? Like if we're not ready, then what kind of, not training, I mean, maybe sometimes it is training, but like, I believe that like the universe trains us to become that person that you see, that vision. And also physically, like if I'm going to allow myself to grow and let's say do the plant medicine or do the emotional or shamanic work, then there is like a real thing about our bodies catching up to that type of energy coming through. I did a plant medicine journey and then afterwards got really sick because my physical body was like, okay, hold the phone.
Right. Too
like
much.
I need to catch up.
Yeah.
And so I do think that there is like our vessel sometimes, which is carrying, like, God love our bodies, like carrying so much. That physical vessel needs a chance to kind of like scoot up to where your energy level is, where your energy is like, let's go.
Yes.
And your body's like, okay, I'm coming. Hold on.
Yeah. I mean, that's actually literally how my second business started, but it's the same as like the ayahuasca tradition, 6 weeks of very serious dieta, what you eat, getting off social media, not having sex, who you interact with, all of that in traditional ayahuasca. And I'm sure there's different ayahuasca communities that, tribes that do it differently, but they prepare their bodies because this is serious. Like, and you're going to go into a journey or a week or however long.
Right.
But it's a preparation. It's not just like, oh, I'm going to go take a thing, transform my life, and then go back to like sitting in front of a computer. Right. And so they take it very seriously because it is very serious.
Very serious work.
Yeah. I mean, this is just side note, like how I created this other business called Quintessential Journey. It was literally supplements designed to optimize health before, during, and after psychedelic journeys and stem cells. Because you need to till the garden, and then you need to plant the seeds, and you need to honor the body. And I just felt that too many people were, especially as psychedelics become more, popular is not the right word, but like aware and legal, people are just wanting to, again, that quick fix, that quick hit workout, right? That doesn't happen on psychedelics. You need to honor the physical body. You need to then give it time to heal and process the information. And even that mental component, energetic component is so taxing on the body. And sometimes, depending on the plant that you do, the actual substance is hard on the body as well.
Yeah.
So that is literally how my second business was created, not on purpose. It was just like I saw this need of like, people need to take these seriously and at least do some supplements and like get the nutrients they need. So when they're being so taxed on these journeys, they can recover and go back to life and go quick, but anyways, just
I think it's great because it's like being responsibly sourced.
Yeah.
As you go in, as you come back in, as you prepare, and as you leave.
Yeah.
I think it's huge, and especially since especially living in Colorado,
right?
There's so much happening,
so much,
and I think it is really important to be intentional.
Agreed. Well, that's where the transformation is. Again, anybody can take a pill at any time,
right?
And the pill isn't going to change your life. Like you are going to have these neuroplastic windows that open. And if you're ready to accept the information, that's great. And then you also need to be ready to do something with the information, right? I mean, the things that have changed my life over time on my journeys. I've done lots of journeys. Not all of them have been life-changing. And honestly, the ones that haven't been life-changing most times is like when I'm not, I'm just going through my life. I'm running. I have 3 kids. I have 2 jobs. And then I go and I'm like, boom, okay, let's do the journey. And then I go back to work and I don't process the information. I don't spend an extra 5 minutes every morning journaling or just sitting with the feeling of it. And the most transformative for me have been the after. It's not necessarily my life isn't changed. Like that first one that I did that changed my life, intellectually, nothing had changed, but energetically, I was a completely different being. And I spent 2 weeks after that on the couch every morning, just sitting with myself. And that's where the transformation was.
That's amazing.
And so being able to honor that and having guides who can sit on the journey with you and even guide you in, talking to you about the importance of taking it seriously for a week or 2 before and a week or 2 after, it just changes the whole thing.
Totally. I love what you said because it's so normal. Like the change happens when you're sitting on your couch.
Right.
And I mean, you're introspective, right?
Right.
But I think a lot of us there's a lot of spiritual bypassing going on. And I think to get to the root, to get to the core, to come kind of full circle of what we're talking about, are you willing to sit on the couch every morning for 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Are you willing to say no to this?
Yes.
Which, it's important. And are you willing to step into those things that are hard, the shadow, the uncomfortable? Are you willing to make those changes? And that changes you physically, emotionally, spiritually, energetically.
Yes.
So I think that's like, if we kind of, I also would love to have you on again because I want to go a totally different route, but I think it would be like an 1.5-hour podcast.
Yeah. Let's do that. But even in like, circling back to the physical, it's the same. I mean, not the same, but different in that, again, people come to me with stories as to why they can't work out. I just want, GLP-1s are popular.
Yeah.
I just want a GLP-1 and that's fine.
Right.
I don't have time to work out. And I'm like, okay.
Right.
I literally have 2 businesses by myself, 3 kids. I have a wonderful partner. We have no family.
Yeah.
None of them drive yet.
Right.
We are fully on.
Right.
And 5 days out of the week, I am working out because I prioritize it.
Right.
I don't know what's going on in TV. I haven't read a book in so long. I have a lot of energy, but and we make our own meals at home at night. Like we prioritize it, period. That is it. You prioritize what's important to you. We all only have 24 hours in a day. We all make excuses. There's nobody I know that needs to sleep 20 of those hours. Then you might not have time to do other things. But so it's the same. I mean, so with exercise or so with prioritizing your health, or so I have patients that make excuses. And again, there's a genetic component, but there's just so much excuse that I hear, and I love helping people. It's really hard though. It's the hardest thing I do, and all of the
Yeah.
things I do,
Yeah.
hear their stories and then believe that they have the power to change, right? Because when you believe that you don't have time, and it's true, your
Right.
day is all of our days are filled
Right.
with a lot of things, but what's important to you?
That's beautiful.
And so I love helping people hear their stories, and it's such a delicate thing I do because people get angry. They're like,
Yeah.
it's real, because it is real. Your story is so real to you,
Right.
but you can believe that healing is within. It's not just because your mom was overweight that you have to be, or just because you don't know how to cook and now you're 50 years old. It's like, well, you can learn. I mean, actually YouTube, books, or just like get in the kitchen and throw a bunch of stuff in a pan, or
Right.
decide that you're going to like lettuce tomorrow, or I don't know. There's so many
Right.
ways,
Yeah.
but you have to meet people where they're at, which is the delicate part, I think, in my job and in
Yes.
medicine, because I could be very straightforward and blunt, and I'm kind of a no bullshit person.
Yeah. Which I like.
But it is just, sometimes people might need a little bit more hand holding than I am good at.
Yes.
But man, when I can make those changes or help people, I'm not making the change, but just help people make change. And like, it's life changing. I mean, literally people's life. That's the only reason I became a doctor, is to help people, I guess, see themselves for who they can be. Right.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah.
It feels like you turn the light on.
Yeah.
Like you help people turn the light on. And also, like, really, when we kind of pull the thread of this conversation, it feels so much like there's so many ways we can identify with the things that don't change, hasn't changed. We all have something that maybe hasn't changed for 25 years or 20 years. We all have ways where we're hiding, or we're sticking with our story. Like, this is my story.
Yes.
This is the diagnosis, and this is my story.
And how you identify.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think, just to kind of like summarize, if we're going to get to the root and we're going to live like with the lights on,
yes,
we have to be willing to see ourselves in a different story.
Yeah.
And a different light.
Yeah.
And I love the synergy between the two of us,
Totally.
because it overlaps in so many ways. And to get to that root, to that core of who we are, who we really are, right? Or to the core of what's wrong.
Yes.
We have to be able to have buy-in and, I guess, agency to make those decisions, make those choices, and to see the truth of who we are.
Yes.
To me, that's longevity.
Agreed.
Like, yes, it is all the cool things, because I love longevity.
Right.
I love the medicine.
It's the cool things, but it's also the hard things, right? I mean, I don't know what you do day in and day out.
Yeah.
It's not easy for me to wake up at 5 to 6. I mean, I am a
Me
morning
too.
person, but I don't
Me too.
always feel like waking up and working out. But I do it, well, because in the end, I know I'm going to think about it all day if I don't work out first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
And so it's like every day it's a choice. Every now and then I wake up and I just am gung-ho and want to do it. But most days it's like, I'd rather sit on my couch for an hour or two and then maybe work out and then whatever. But every day it's a choice to cook a healthy meal for our family. I mean, I talk to my husband about way too many times a day about what we're going to eat, but because we prioritize food, right?
Yes.
There's so many people who are like, oh, I mean, literally this weekend, someone was like, I can't believe you guys just bust out these fancy meals every time. They're not fancy. They're just healthy meals. Right. He's like, we both work full time. I mean, we're like barely whatever. And I'm like, I don't know. Are you shocked every day at 6 o'clock that you're hungry? No.
Right.
So you just plan over the weekend.
That's
like it's making a choice to talk about it, to have the conversations,
It is.
Figure out how you're going to work on it in your family. I don't know. It's just like, it's being intentional about your life.
Yeah.
As opposed to a passive participant and shocked that you do the same things every day. So there are things you can change. So the cold plunges and the saunas and all of that is fun, but that's not instead of the basic things that you have to do, which is sleep and prioritizing what you put in your mouth and prioritizing movement in whatever capacity. I mean, those are, if you can do those 3 things, like you're winning.
Totally.
You're like 85% there.
Yeah. I love that. And that's in all of our power.
In your power.
Right. We might not have time or the money or the ability to do cold plunge. I mean, you can go to a river.
Right.
But, or the desire.
Totally.
But like the choices, and I love the idea of intentionality. Right. And it's really creating space for what is important. And that's longevity.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not so hard.
It's not. No. So again, I think I have to have you back on, because there's like a whole other way I want to go, and we don't have time today. But I think it's really important for all of us to be more intentional, to explore the root, right? And get to the core of who we are and ask ourselves that question, I don't think our world will allow us to live like our grandparents lived or our parents lived anymore. I think more often than not, our world is asking us to go deeper
Yes.
and to be intentional and to figure out what actually is inside of here.
Yes.
And so I'm a huge fan of what you do,
Yes.
and was so excited. I was so excited to have you on because I feel like we are so intentional about the way we work, and that is to help people live longer and healthier and more open and
be
brighter.
present, right? When you're
Yeah,
here, like just
totally.
whatever that is for you, it doesn't
Yes.
have to be whatever you think that is. I had
Exactly.
someone tell me, I just think this is relevant. I don't know why I thought of it, that we spend our money because there's also, like you said, you make excuses that you don't have money for all the things, which
Right.
is true.
Right.
You either spend your money on shelter, food,
Mm-hmm.
or medicine.
Mhm.
Everything else is medicine. So
Yeah.
just think about that for a minute. Like if
So
shelter and
true.
food are the essentials,
Yeah.
everything else is medicine. Is that your TV? Is that travel? Is that your cell phone?
Right.
Like, that when I heard that, I still sit with that and I'm like, how am I spending my money
So
on
true.
medicine?
Yes.
For
that's
your
so true.
soul, for your body, for your well-being.
Yes.
So I don't know.
And that's intentionality, right?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for
Thank
coming
you.
on. And yeah, I feel like we have so many more things to talk about. So I'm going to have you on again.
Great.
And I have so many things in the woodworks, and I'm going to slowly drop them in. But one thing that I really believe in is healing. And I think we have to include body, mind, and soul in that whole process. So I guess for anybody who's watching, stay tuned for more things and exciting things coming up. There's a lot of transitions that I'm in personally, and thresholds, and I just love being a midlife woman because I think that we are, when we're intentional about it, we're just uncovering so much about ourselves. So that's what I'm uncovering. I'm uncovering so many things in my work and my personal life and connections and community. And I think we can't do this alone.
We cannot do it alone.
We need community.
Mm-hmm.
So, I consider you part of the community.
Well, thank you. I feel
Yeah.
honored to be a part of your community and in your
Yeah.
presence. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.